Welcome into Postgame Live on channel BSR. I'm Zach Will from BaltimoreSportsReport.com, joined by Josh Soroka. How's it going, Josh? Good evening.
Hey, it's going well. We got a win, uh, and the offense played well, so it's a good night.
Look at that. I know. It's nice to see the Orioles go back to winning the way we're used to seeing the Orioles win. 7-5 in Game 2 of the three-game set against the Tampa Bay Rays. Running through the box score, Miguel Gonzalez picking up the W. He's now 4-4 with a 4.41 ERA. He only went 5 innings in this one, allowing 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 Ks. The save, of course, going to Zach Britton in an easy, quick 1-2-3 inning, 6 pitches for Britton. The ERA down to 0.74. He's just looking dominant in that role.
Yeah, this is what we said all year. This is what we said during the preseason. This is the type of game the Orioles would win. High offense scoring, and the pitching do just enough to keep us in the game. But we expected.
Absolutely, yeah. Great to see. And the loss, Orioles fans feel good about this one all around. The loss going to old friend Eric Bedard, who falls to 3-5 on the season with a 4.33 ERA, only 4 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 3 Ks. Of course, giving up the home run, not just any home run, but a grand slam. Josh, how nice is it to pick up the W against Bedard?
Oh, there was no way I was going to come on here if Bedard got the win. I wasn't going to do this. It is great to beat Bedard. He shouldn't be doing much of anything, and I'm glad that we just kind of destroyed him and got him out of that game.
Yeah, no doubt. Key contributors in this one, of course, Chris Davis, who hit his 12th home run, a grand slam, hitting off the foul pole, that coming in the 3rd inning. Bases juiced, 1 out. And we saw Steve Pearce hit his 5th of the year in the 7th. He added a double later on in the game. But what did you think of Davis going the other way?
Well, the Davis grand slam. It was great. It's one of those big hits with Davis where all of a sudden you say, is he back? Or you just pronounce that Chris Davis is back. But I've pronounced him being back 12 times this year. So maybe this is the one. I don't know. I think the fact that with the whole replay and is it a grand slam, I think it made it more entertaining because we got to see that ball hit the foul pole about 10 times. So I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that was exciting to see, and good to see. Yeah, you do wonder. I feel like every time Davis hits a home run, we have that conversation about, is this it? Are we finally seeing the Chris Davis of old return? And I hope so. It's good to see. I know Patrick Guthrie's mentioned on our podcast a few times that he feels like, and looking at some of the video, just how close he is to getting back to form. So
Right.
seeing him be able to do that, go the other way, it's definitely encouraging for sure.
Yeah, and I think what really made that grand slam special was the at bat beforehand, where we had the bases loaded with Adam Jones at the plate, and it looked on Twitter that a lot of Birdland was not excited and more wondering how this is going to turn out for the Orioles to blow it. And Bedard throws a wild pitch, so Scope's able to score. And then we relax a little bit because, all right, we at least got 1 out of the performance. Another bad pitch, and he hits Jones to set Davis up for this. So a great inning.
Yeah.
Top half.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it seemed to happen quick. So I spoiled your highlight there by jumping on the Davis grand slam, but
That's all right.
figure is worth mentioning. My highlight has got to be Steve Pearce, and a guy who Twitter seems to be asking Josh, why isn't Steve Pearce in this lineup regularly? And the more they ask, the more I wonder too. Hitting in the 2-hole this evening, 2 for 3. Mentioned the double, hit the home run, a pair of walks. Guy's hitting 317 on the season.
Leading the team in batting average right now. He's got a smaller sample size,
Sure.
but still 317. He's been up enough to blow that, and he's been able to hold on to that. No, Baltimore Twitter and social media is obsessed with guys named Steve. So they want more Steve Pierce and more Steve Clevenger.
Yeah, Clevenger, who's hitting 444 this month in AAA. Our guy JT at Godzilla on Twitter pointing that out and asking, hey, remember when the Orioles DFA'd Steve Pierce, released Steve Pierce? Man, that would have been terrible had it not worked out for them to bring him back. Yeah.
No, I'm getting real curious about Steve Pierce now as he shows more and more consistency. That what do we do later in the year? That he could. There's other teams that are going to need a first baseman come the end of July.
But I am wondering, looking at the way the Orioles have performed offensively, man, that they could really use. I mean, personally, I don't think they're running out their best lineup every single day here recently. Anyway, I feel like 7, 8, 9. There have been some glaring holes, but I mean, the way they performed offensively recently, I think the Orioles could use Pierce's bat in there as well. Definitely a trade candidate, like you mentioned, but they could use that offensive production, at least for the time being, I think.
Yes. No, I think he should be DH in the next few games.
No, good.
I was going to say maybe a little first base, give Davis some rest as well, but
yeah, definitely.
Let him play more.
Absolutely. I'm on the Pierce bandwagon for that as well. Team Steve, everybody, like you mentioned. What's your low light from this game, Josh?
The low light is Miguel Gonzalez. We've had a great week. I mean, 8 quality starts in a row. Our pitching's been wonderful to watch this week. And the question on everyone's mind and every podcast has been talking about in the past week and every blog writer is, what do we do when Gonzalez comes back? Does Gausman stick around? Do we go 6-man? Does someone go to the bullpen? How do we handle that? And Gonzalez did nothing to give us confidence in him today. That we're going to see Gausman tomorrow, which we'll get to later, but Gausman has outperformed Gonzalez in those 2 slots that he filled in for him. So I'm a little concerned with Gonzalez's performance today. The Rays aren't a great team that they should be hammering on him like this.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and I guess to put a positive spin on that low light, it's nice to see the offense pick up the pitching, which I feel like we haven't seen in quite some time. So, but yeah, I'm with you. It was a bummer to see that. And sticking with the trend of pitching, I'm going to highlight Brian Mattis, who I'm going to look at the box score so I don't mess this up. But just a third of an inning, he gave up a hit and gave up an earned run. He did have a strikeout, and he comes in to pitch, as my page loads, I believe, in the bottom of the 7th. I'm scrolling down. He comes in to pitch, in the 7th to James Loney. So he comes in with 2 outs. He strikes out James Loney, who Josh, you guessed it, James Loney, a lefty. And then Buck Showalter leaves him in to pitch in the 8th. Ben Zobrist comes up. He hits from the other side of the plate and doubles. So just continually troubling trends for me for Brian Mattis. He's increasingly becoming more and more. I realize he's the lefty specialist, but I think we all hope that, maybe with some of the closer concerns, or heck, this is a guy who was a first-round pick. Maybe even get him back in the rotation at some point, and that's looking more and more like that's never going to happen. He's becoming more and more of a specialist, which to me is incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, and I think there's more focus on that because he did start off so strong this season. Where coming out of the pen, we felt like we could count on him, that just leave him in there, let him keep pitching because he was knocking out the guys.
Right. Yeah, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on. The ERA is up to 4.21 on the season, so a little bit concerning for me. Offensively, we mentioned the big nights from Pierce, from Chris Davis, of course. Not to be negative, I'm going to put a positive spin on this as well. It's surprising when we see a 0 in the hit column for Adam Jones these days, whose whose batting average, not ERA, is up to 295 on the season, but he went 0 for 3. Did have a run and got a walk, which, for a guy that doesn't walk, it's always nice to see that. He took an 0 for.
Right, and he got the hit by pitch. which
Right.
which was real good. He did real good plate discipline up there to get the wild pitch and that hit on pitch up there. But yeah, the zero is a little concerning because he got on base with men. He got on up to the plate with men on base and just left them.
True. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Nick Markakis, of course, continuing to do what Nick Markakis does. Added a double. His 14th of the season, went 2 for 5 with a run. Just continually being consistent, average up to 301 on the season. Please vote for the guy and put him in the All-Star game. I really, really want to see it. J.J. Hardy going 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Still waiting on that first home run, Josh. It's going to happen eventually. One day.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Caleb Joseph's.
Caleb Joseph 1 for 4 had a
Yeah.
double in this one. His third double of the year.
He's struggling, but when he hits the ball, he keeps getting closer to that fence. And
Yeah, he was real close tonight.
that 131, I don't know what to take of that because I don't want Hudley out there.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough spot, and I read quite a few articles today from quite a few great National Baseball writers about how tough of a situation the Orioles are in without Matt Wieters, and do they go for the defense with Joseph, or do they hope that Hundley starts hitting, or it's a tough spot for them to be in. So Joseph goes 1 for 4, Jonathan Scope goes 1 for 4, Machado goes 1 for 4. Cruz took an 0 for 4. He's dipped down to 300 at this point.
Yep.
But tough to complain about the production that Nelson Cruz has had.
He'll figure it out.
How about defense? We saw an error from Adam Jones, which I kind of thought was a tough call on the error. I mean, he took a risk coming in on a ball, but
right, that was that short ball that he just missed his glove, just went under. So yeah, that's a tough play to give an error on.
It's a line drive, his fourth of the year. A highlight defensive real play I thought was the 5-4-3 double play that Machado, Scope, and Davis turned there.
The highlight there was Scope turning that ball, because I forget who was on base, but he came in hard. And
he did.
Did a little hop and got around him and got the ball out.
Yeah, that was some stellar defensive play. So good to see. And I thought we were going to see a little Manny Machado juke play again, kind of dating back to probably my favorite Machado highlight of all time, the pump fake. He
went for it.
He went for it, but the runners are onto him, and that was against the Rays too. So the Rays runners in particular are probably not going to be faked out by that move.
Right. And there were some great classic. Like, we don't even pay attention anymore to the Machado third baseline putouts, because he does them every night, where he guns that ball across, and it is so nice to have him back on that corner.
Yeah, no doubt. Pitching wise, we saw Ryan Webb come in relief of Gonzalez, pitch an inning and 2/3, no hits, no earned runs. He also got scared by a bird that was flying around in the trop. I don't know if you saw that GIF, but it was pretty hilarious.
He also got a strikeout. He did really well.
He did look good. 18 pitches, 12 of them for strikes, so that's good to see. We already mentioned Brian Mattis. Darren O'Day coming in, keeping things a little exciting, but getting the job done. An inning, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and a strikeout. And again, we briefly mentioned it off the top, but Zach Britton, man, just locked in. 6 pitches here for the closer, and I was listening at the end. I watched most of this game, but I listened to the final 3 outs, and Ben McDonald kind of talking about how hard Britton throws, and it's amazing that his sinker is able to get as much movement as it does, given how hard he throws. And immediately coming into my mind is just 2012 Jim Johnson, who I feel like we heard pretty much the exact same thing about. So as long as he keeps it to dated back to 2012 Jim Johnson, I'm on board for that type of guy in the ninth.
No, I'm loving Zach Britton in the ninth. I love it because, for one, we didn't talk about Britton all season as the closer. We assumed Tommy Hunter. We said maybe Bud Norris.
Yeah.
We never talked about Zach Britton. I can't tell if this stat includes tonight, but 35 innings pitched and 26 strikeouts. So
crazy.
He's doing great in that slot. and I'm loving it.
Crazy, crazy. My favorite stat from tonight while we're throwing them out: Steve Pearce, 3 home runs and 29 at bats at the Trop. So guy likes hitting there. Rockabacco pointing that out, and he's from Lakeland, so he's a Florida guy. Play
Well,
Pierce,
yeah,
more
I
Pierce.
hope he's out there tomorrow. And the way Buck kind of sticks with guys who are hot, I think there's a good shot we see Pierce DH in tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I was there on Sunday after Davis homered on Saturday, and no Davis, so I hope that's not the case for Pierce. But Orioles pick up the win 7-5. They are now 4 games behind the Jays in the AL East, 6-1 against the Rays on the season, and the rubber game tomorrow. Britton with his 8th save, and the O's go to 20-17 on the road on the year. What's your bottom line takeaway from this one, Josh?
It's been my complaint all year that the offense and the defense have to work out together. That it's great to get the win because our offense showed up, but we were a little worried all game because our pitching did not show up. So the takeaway is the offense can still score runs. Davis can still hit the home runs, and we did a decent job or an okay job with runners in scoring position. So the offense can work itself out. The pitching, we can settle back down. And I don't know, it gives me real good confidence after a week of great pitching to now see some offense.
Yeah, without a doubt, and mine's very similar to that. My takeaway from this game is just the Orioles won this one the way I'm used to seeing them win the past couple years. You know, when their record, when they're winning games based on their starting pitching, that concerns me a little bit. It's good to see, but when they're dependent on the starting pitching, I feel like they're not playing to their strengths, and that's not really a realistic way for them to continue playing games. So, yeah, I'd love to see it all click together at the same time, absolutely. But for me, this was sort of the Orioles winning games the way playing to their strength. We saw the long ball in effect. It was a grand slam this time. So that was big. But getting back to 2012, 2013 Orioles baseball. So. Next game coming up, it's a day game tomorrow. Alex Cobb against Kevin Gossman. I'm watching every Kevin Gossman start. I feel like with a magnifying glass here, Josh. I'm breaking them all down as much as I can.
No, and it makes sense to do that. I mean, he's up. He's fine. This is the first time we've seen him come up and pitch in a game and earn his way into the starting rotation. And then he pitched again and and basically forced his way to stay on the team. So he forced himself to get this third start where every other time he's been up, he's been filling in or out of the pen, or this is the first time where he's doing what we expected and what we've talked about he's going to come and do. And it's awesome to see national writers paying attention to say Gossman might be for real and might be a little scary on the O's.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I feel like if the Orioles are a team that is playing meaningful games in September and hopefully October, I think we'll look back at it and say, well, it's because Kevin Gossman kind of kicked it into gear there in June and helped kind of bolster a struggling starting rotation. So looking forward to that one, day game baseball. Even though it's in a freaking dome, I always look forward to day game baseball. So should be a good one.
Just got to sneak away from work a little bit to watch the game.
Yeah,
It'll be all right.
Shouldn't be too hard, right? What's coming up on Section 336 this week, Josh?
Well, we are Section 336. Well, tomorrow we got our 336 dailies. So this week, I don't remember what Matt talked about on Monday. I talked about the Baltimore Chop and the history behind that this morning. Tomorrow's the Zany Burt Rhodey. I'm sure he's going to be talking about the Chris Davis Grand Slam. And then on Friday, we've got our big show coming out. So I don't know if we'll be talking about this week. I'm sure we're going to be talking about pitching. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Of course, with
right.
Mr. Padre. Tony Gwynn passing away. That's a hot topic now.
Right.
And I'm not sure how the other boys feel, but I'm sure we'll discuss feelings on that and how that should be involved with baseball.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to that conversation for sure. New BSR podcast is out this week, out yesterday, so grab that on iTunes, Stitcher, or BaltimoreSportsReport.com and check that out as well. So that'll do it for Postgame Live on Channel BSR. Thanks to everybody for tuning in and tweeting and following along, watching the live stream. For Josh Stroka, I'm Zach Wilt. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back on Thursday with another live broadcast.